This is the plaintiff, Doral Johnson. She says she watched in horror as the defendant backed into her parked car, severely damaging her fender. When she approached the guy, he told her, "Hey, it's an old car. Call the freaking cops." When the defendant spoke with her with such disrespect, it made her very angry. Even the police said he was a jerk. Bottom line, he's an uninsured motorist, and she has no other choice but to sue him in court for the $1,223.36 it's going to cost her to fix her car. This is the defendant, Gaetano Mancelli. He says he was parking his car in a spot and very ever so slightly tapped the bumper of the plaintiff's car. Well, the crazed woman came at him screaming like a banshee, claiming he damaged her car. The plaintiff's car was bashed in already, for crying out loud. It was even rusty. The woman simply trying to seize the opportunity and is suing him here in this court for prior damage. He's accused of being a bumper thumper.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant hit her car and had the audacity to tell her not to worry because her car was a hoopty. But the defendant says he just tapped her bumper, and the fact is the car was already bashed in. It's the case of hoopty-doo.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Ms. Johnson, you were suing Mr. Mancelli for $1,223.36 in damages to your car that you say he did. Tell me what happened.
November the 11th. I had a little job in 58th Street selling T-shirts.
58th Street and what? In Manhattan?
No, and Woodside.
Okay.
I was sitting, it was kind of cold, so I was sitting in the garage. You know, he couldn't see me. And I heard the crash.
Your car, you were selling T-shirts out of where?
Out of the manufacturer. They have a factory there.
So were you parked on the street in front of the factory?
I was parked in front of the factory.
Okay.
And the driveway.
And you're within you can see.
I didn't see him when he pulled up, but I heard the crash.
Okay, so you
I got up.
Right.
By the time I got up, he had done got out of the car, and he was like walking away. And I said to him, I said, "You hit my car." And he didn't even look at the car, Judge. He didn't even look at it. He looked at me and he said, "It's an old car. Call the police." And he left. So there was a guy that was coming and he heard him. He said, "How? Why he talked to you like that?" And I went over and the guy went over and saw that the front of my car was cracked and I had just got the new plates for my car and they were bent. And he said he left. So he called the police. I called the police and they came. And I told them what he did and what he said. And they said, "Where did he go?" I said, "I don't know." So they wrote up two. One, they said I had to go to the precinct and get, because the one for hit and run, they sent that downtown. So I had to go to the precinct and pick that one up. But the one for the accident, they gave it to me right on the spot.
Okay.
And so then the police had found out where he lived and everything. Then they called me and they gave me the telephone number for the insurance company that he had. And I called them and they said that he was not insured.
What happened?
This story does not make sense, Your Honor. I was backing up. There was one spot on the corner. I was backing up, as we do, gingerly, your foot on the brake constantly. And I did tap her bumper.
Just a little love tap.
I did tap her
Just
bumper.
a little love tap. Okay.
As soon as I tapped her bumper, obviously, my foot went on the brake. I pulled forward 6 or 8 inches. That was it. What she says about me not looking at the car is not true, because as I exited my car, she was in the street screaming and yelling, "You just hit my car, and look at the damage that you did to it." I was astounded to find out that the front of her car was what I consider to be damaged in either a front end or rear end at about 55 miles an hour. It was crushed.
Well, let me see the pictures of your car.
So if you have a dented car and somebody comes along and hits it, do you have a right to get the portion fixed with that they hit, even if the rest of your car has dents?
Yes, sir.
Why so?
Because it's their fault.
No, it is their fault, but they're saying, hey, you know, the car was already a mess.
Yeah, but still, that dent wasn't there before, so they should at least fix that portion of the car.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think?
I think, yeah, if they're going to hit my car, I want some compensation for it.
So you can get it fixed perfectly, even if the rest of your car has a bunch of dents.
Yes, of course.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
So she said to me, you did that to my car. I agree to the fact that I did use the word because I was, come on, lady, you got to be joking me. I'm not going to be a scapegoat for an accident that took place somewhere else, and you happen to be taking advantage of the fact that I just tapped your bumper. And I said, I'm going to a church mass right up the street.
You were going to a church mass?
Yes.
You left the scene of an accident to go to a church
that's
mass.
what I'm saying.
You know, there's a lot of irony in that. Am I the only one who sees it?
No.
Really? What? Because you know the law requires you to stay at the scene of an accident.
But, Your Honor, there was no accident.
No. According to your own testimony, there's an accident. When you touch her, there's an accident. Only in New York do people say, oh, it's just a tap. Oh, that'll happen. That'll happen. You know that the rest of the world doesn't talk that way. But, you know, I know that New Yorkers talk, oh, well, how else are you going to park? You know, yeah, you park in a way that doesn't touch another car. But so once there's contact between the cars that's initiated by your foot on a brake that's released a little and then there's contact, yeah, you're supposed to stay. That's called an accident, however small and minor it may be. And whether or not the damages are on you or whether she's trying to scam you, that's a totally separate inquiry. So you're telling me, I love this. This is just priceless. That yes, you left the scene of an accident without waiting for the police and you did it to attend mass. What would Jesus do?
That's quite
Oh my
funny.
goodness.
That's quite funny, Your Honor.
No,
Except
it's
that
quite
I didn't consider
ironic.
it an
As a
accident.
practicing Roman Catholic, I'm offended. Oh my gosh. I got to tell I may just get off the bench and go talk to my priest right now and tell him this one.
Okay, how about the fact that I have
So it's
pictures
cracked.
of my car?
Okay, when you say big crash, 55 miles an hour, you're referring to the crack on the bumper here, right?
Yes.
Is it? No, I'm asking him.
Oh.
Right? Is that a picture of the front of her car? Or are you referring to the marks on the side of the fender?
This is not the car this is not the automobile that I hit. That is
Okay,
not
let
the
me see the
automobile
police
that I
report
hit.
so I can see what automobile the police who did stay say you hit.
I hit an older car that was made of metal.
So that's for the accident. This is the hit and run.
What kind of car were you driving?
98 Civic Honda.
Your Honor, the car I hit was an 80s old metal automobile that I tapped.
What's your car?
A 2005 Suzuki Forensic.
You know what the officer did? He wrote describing both your vehicles, 2005 Suzuki. Like the officer clearly made a mistake because he put it on your car and then he put it on her car. You weren't both coincidentally. Neither of you say she was driving a Suzuki. Let's see if this one has a.
Your Honor.
What do you think she did? She took another car that
That's
she
not the car.
owns? What is it you think happened? That she found a different car to pin it on you?
Yes.
That's fascinating if you had stood around to wait and could give me an accurate description of the car you hit. But by your own testimony, you turned around and walked off because you thought she was a scam artist. And I have the officer putting the driver's license plate that belongs to this car on the report. Who am I going to trust, him or you?
That was not the car.
You know what, Mr. Menchelli? I'll tell you what. Next time you give a little love tap to a car, stick around. Stick around, okay? I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,223.36. Pay the
Thank
lady.
you, Your Honor.
Well, here he comes, the defendant, out here into the hallway. And what about what the judge had to say to you there in ruling against you?
It's a complete false accusation.
Yeah.
That lady has scammed not only myself but the court. It's a travesty of justice.
You bumped her, and then you think she did what? How did the scam work?
Well, evidently, one of her friends must have put their car where her car was, and they took a picture of it. And
That's a pretty busy, scheme, complex plan just to get a few bucks out of you.
well, I told the truth on this whole thing. Okay, I hit an older car. I tapped an older car.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, right this way.
sir.
Okay.
Back this way.
Follow Officer McIntosh, please. All right, so you come out here, and he says you've successfully scammed him in the court. True? Is that what you did?
I'm not a scammer.
No.
He hit me so hard till I got up. And when I went over to him, I said, "You damaged my car." He kept walking. It's an old car. So a friend of mine was coming. He said, "Call the police." And I called the police.
Well, if he had acted differently at the scene, you think we would be here right now?
No, we wouldn't. If he had to disrespect me and talk to me the way he did, I would and gave me all his information, we wouldn't have been here.
Harvey?
By the way, a hit and run can land you in jail, and if there are injuries, it could land you in prison. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.